In today's episode of Marketplace Finds, we take a look at a heavily modified Geo Metro that has been received well, a school bus that has been converted into a toy hauler, and a Dodge Ram that was inspired by Mad Max. Ever wanted to go four-wheel driving with the roof off, but don't want to buy a Jeep? Well, now you can with this BMW 330 Ci that has been swapped onto a Chevy Blazer chassis. It keeps the Blazer's drivetrain with the 4.3 litre engine with only 114,000 miles on it and the transfer case. The owner has even got the power heated seats and convertible top to work as it should. The only issue the owner states is that the air conditioning doesn't work, but that doesn't matter when you can take the roof down. In my opinion, all it needs is some bigger mud tyres, and this thing would be a bunch of fun. They are asking for $7,500, and I honestly can't tell if that's a good or bad price, so let us know what you think in the comments below. Here we have a modified 1997 Geo Metro, and as you can see, it's had quite a few modifications. I honestly couldn't even tell this was a Geo Metro when I first saw it, as it looks so different. The owner has done a fair bit of bodywork, especially the custom front end, and from the comments on the post, most seem to like it. The owner says the car is super clean, and I would believe it even from looking at the quality of the wrap and the interior. They want $6,900 for it, which I think is a bit high, but I have no clue what these sell for normally. Next up we have a JDM icon and one of my personal favourite cars, the Mazda RX7. This one has a questionable body kit, being an ex-show car from the 2000s that has stayed on the last 20 years or so. A true nostalgic throwback with its crazy front end, wide body and giant wing on the back. Ignoring the body kit, it actually has a lot of nice mods such as bride seats, HKS intercooler, Ganador mirrors, among many other rare mods and parts. The interior on the other hand has an insane amount of wiring, screens and gauges, all facing the driver's seat that looks like it needs to be tidied up. The car looks to be in really good condition with only 25,000 miles on it for a 32-year-old vehicle seemingly been garaged all its life. The owner is looking for $40,000, which is probably a bit steep and a price closer to a fully original one would get. We've seen quite a few interestingly modified vehicles this video, but this one here has something we haven't seen yet. That's right, the owner not only extended the bed, but put another axle under there, turning it into a 6-wheel truck. It's a 1988 Chevy 1500 that is listed for a huge $31,000, or according to the owner, they would accept a 2015 and newer Ford, or a 2016 and newer Silverado. Although a lot of work has gone into this truck, I don't think there's any way they're going to get close to $31,000 or one of those newer trucks. It's been listed for 2 weeks so far with no bites, but who knows. Here we have an apparent 2022 Tesla Cybertruck with the owner listing it up for $140,000 and the description stating it's a brand new Cybertruck, damn best offer. I don't know if I should be impressed or worried about how much effort the owner must have gone through to make this somewhat look like a Cybertruck from a mile away. I can't even tell what truck this is underneath all of that tinfoil and duct tape, but whatever it is, it's probably more reliable than a real Cybertruck anyway. Next up is an absolute classic 1968 Dodge Charger that has sadly seen better days. The owner states the car is exactly what you would expect from a Charger that sat in the weeds for 40 years. It's very rough and rusty, but the bones there are still good enough for it to be a builder, and I'm not sure if I can agree on being able to rebuild it when it's this bad, with basically every single part of it having massive rust holes and basically every part, including some of the rails and frame. It was a small block car, and it does have a clean title in the owner's name, so it's sad they left it to rot for so long to get to the point it is now. They have listed it for $9,500, which according to the owner is in the range of what similar cars are going for. In the comments, some people agreed, saying that although the car is basically destroyed, there's such a cult following for these that someone will probably buy it. Up next is yet again another homemade one-of-a-kind vehicle, being this reverse trike. It was made up by combining the front end off of a 2005 Honda Rancher and the rear end and engine of a 2002 Suzuki Savage. The owner reports that it tops out at 100 miles per hour, but I'm not sure I'd trust taking it even close to that speed. They also say, quote, "It's possible to be street legal. I talked to the DMV and she said a salvage title could be created. I'm not from Florida, so the new owner should probably check that out themselves. Honestly, this thing looks like it would be super fun to bash around in a field, and for only $1,500, you can't go wrong. Ever get sick of your kids when going on a road trip? Well, this PT Cruiser trailer could be the pick for you. It's had the front axle removed, with the trailer hitch being swapped in, along with some interesting front end bodywork. The craziest part about this listing is how the interior has this TV setup and still has the 5 seats inside, so it's definitely not meant for carrying camping equipment, just people. I'm not sure if I'd want to be sitting in a normal PT Cruiser, let alone this thing on the highway, but hey, it can be yours for only $2,200. Next up is this extremely rare 1915 Crane Simplex Gentleman Speedster for a massive $275,000. The high price is probably a combination of how rare they are, but more importantly that it's a matching number vehicle. Having the number 2101 on the body tag, transmission and engine is insane. This vehicle's main parts are what it came out of the factory with 110 years ago. It has just had a 14-month restoration where they replaced the floor, put some fresh paint on it and gave it a polish. This model was produced in New Brunswick, New Jersey from 1915 to 1918 and came out the factory with a whopping 46 horsepower. It really is a piece of art that should be in a museum. Here we have a base trim 2001 Mitsubishi Eclipse listed up with no description, and it's already been snapped up for the cheap $1,000 it was listed for. Because who doesn't want a slow automatic car with a stupidly oversized wing and a sticker down the side, the equivalent of a tramp stamp? To be fair, for an assuming running and driving car for a $1,000, you can't go wrong. This next one is quite a unique one, as it's a Freightliner bus that has been converted into what the lister calls a toy hauler. As you can see, they have a large side-by-side sitting on the back tray, so it has plenty of space for most vehicles. The interior has been tidied up with a couple of couches, new flooring and walls, so with a few more things could be kitted nicely for a road trip. It's currently listed for $12,000, so pretty expensive for what it is. This unique reverse trike is a 1997 Grinnall Scorpion built in limited numbers from England. It utilizes a BMW K-Series motorbike engine, this one having the K1100, and used to be quite fast given their light power to weight ratio. Having a motorcycle engine in it means it doesn't come with a reverse gear, so you have to be mindful when parking. If you're really crazy, you can buy a turbocharger kit which increases the horsepower from about 130 horsepower to a massive 300 horsepower. The owner is after $5,500 however. It does currently have a blown clutch, so it does need some work. This next one is an odd one, where we have this 1993 Honda Civic in Primer Grey listed for $3,000. And if you didn't notice it from the first picture, it actually doesn't have any taillights at all, because who needs to see when you're braking or reversing? Right guys, I honestly just want to know if they painted over the lights and filled in the cracks, or what and why they did it in the first place. If you're up for an interesting learner project, this 1991 Nissan 300ZX popped up for only $2,000. It's a 2+2 non-turbo automatic asking for a manual swap to be put in, or just cruise it as is after fixing it up. The owner says it has been sitting for 20 years with a 2004 inspection sticker on it, so it's going to need quite a few things to get it back up and running. One main good thing though is that from the photos, the whole car seems rust free. Not a bad car for a beginner to learn how to restore a car that has sat for quite a while. This next vehicle, I'm going to assume they accidentally hit an extra zero on the keyboard when typing the price, as they have this 1990 Nissan 240 SX up for $15,000. And as you can see, it looks to be in worse shape than the 300ZX that had sat for 20 years. As it sits now, it's just a rolling body, and the owner bought this VH45 they intended to swap into it alongside the other parts needed to get it driving, which would be a good engine to swap into it. The owner claims the Rocket Bunny kit adds $5,000 value to a S14, which this is a S13, so they modified it to fit onto their car, so that is perhaps why they think it's worth so much more than what it is. Here we have a crazy 2010 Dodge Ram listed up for $15,000. As you can see, the owner is either a huge fan of Alien vs Predator or is really trying to warn the neighborhood kids. A ton has been cosmetically modified with this wrap, the Lambo doors, speaker system, 24-inch rims, and many more not shown in the photos. The owner left the Hemi basically stock with just this air intake on it and airbrushed the engine cover. In the description the owner states, quote, "Find another Ram in the state with Lambo doors and a front tilt hood. I'll wait." That really isn't the flex this guy thinks it is, but who knows, it's only been listed for a week, so we'll have to check back in the future. Think you're the biggest baseball fan in the world? Well, you haven't met this guy. Here they have listed up their 2010 Chevrolet Camaro for a huge $75,000. As you can see, the car is dedicated to Pete Rose or Charlie Hustle, and even has his signature on the driver's side fender. All over the rest of the car, they have other pictures, and honestly, I can't even hate how much work has gone into this, as the paint job is surprisingly good. Just don't look at the hands on the hood too closely. As you can see, the interior has also seen some modification, with the seats being reupholstered to represent the Cincinnati Reds, and it has some bigger red rims to match. Pete Rose passed away in late 2024, so maybe that's why the owner has listed the car for sale. I'm not a massive baseball fan, but I have a strong feeling they won't be getting close to $75,000 unless another mega fan comes along. Here we have a custom made trike listed up for $6,500, and initially from the pictures thought was insane, but after reading the description you can tell someone put a lot of effort into it. The whole body and chassis is custom made out of aluminum, and it has a Honda Accord engine with a 5-speed gearbox. Most surprisingly, it has roll-up windows, cruise control, a heater, wipers, and even a rear window defogger. Next up we have quite an interesting looking 2006 Dodge Ram 1500, and just like the previous Predator version, has some quite unusual things going on. As you can see, they have gone with an interesting purple and red color combination, along with about 100 stickers all over and some hood scoops. It comes with the Dodge Ram Classic, with a bottle of what looks to be Fireball whiskey sitting under the passenger's seat if the driver needs a little pick-me-up, and a couple of half-empty Sprite cans to chase it down. It has a 5.7 Hemi with a Pro Charger and is listed for $9,000 or best offer, but needs a transmission rebuild. The Dodge Ram owners have been going crazy lately, as we have our third one for this video. The owner is wanting $16,000 for this 2004 Dodge Ram 3500 Dually, and just like the others, has some interesting modifications. It seems this owner was going for some sort of Mad Max inspiration, with a huge bull bar, skull on the hood, and spiked lug nuts. Not only do they have that, but it also has the classic butterfly or Lambo doors, and I can't even hate the custom dump bed. Moving on to the interior, we can see the owner has even painted the roof liner, door jambs, sun visors, and even the A-pillar and skulls, because you know he's badass or something. In the description the owner mentions it, quote, currently has a check engine on for an O2 sensor, which they haven't had the time to fix, so I'd definitely be taking a scan tool just to confirm. Next up is this Nissan Frontier with quite the interesting engine swap. Yep, that is a good old RB20 DET out of a Nissan Skyline GTST along with the gearbox. It has some other goodies such as bigger turbo, wastegate, and a stage 3 clutch. However, that's where the good seems to stop, as it still needs to be tuned, reportedly needing bigger injectors and an ECU to do so, which wouldn't be too bad if the owner wasn't asking for an insane $19,000 for it. So on top of that, it needs $400 injectors and a $1,350 ECU plus the tuning cost itself. You're looking for somewhere around $21,000 for it, which in my opinion is nowhere near worth it. Here we have another project car, being this 1959 International A120 Metro that would make for a great restoration project. It's a rolling body with some rust work needed, but for the most part looks to be a solid together vehicle. These were known for being milk or bakery delivery vehicles, some even being ambulances or mobile offices. This one was used as a mail delivery van. It's listed for $3,800, and I feel like that's not too bad of a price, as a quick cleanup and paint would do wonders for this old van. This next one is just a random bonus marketplace find we found of this farmer selling a large boulder. It apparently weighs around 22 tons, and even more crazy is the farmer actually owns a 200-ton crane, so they're ready to load it up. They finished the description with the absolute classic of no lowballers, I know what I've got. Thanks for watching another episode of Golden Garage. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more videos from us, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next episode.